for speakers to, this is the mic that's live, but this one is the one that's recording, so as long as you're kind of in between, we'll get your voice. All right, and Susan can give me the, oh, we're already going? Oh, great, I hope we can cut that part off. All right. Welcome to the Chanhassen Library. Thank you for coming on this beautiful summer Saturday morning. My name is Linnea, and I am the Adult Services Librarian here at the Chanhassen Library. I plan programming for the library, and it's always a challenge to find a good time for everyone to come in, so I appreciate that you're here. I have a few announcements before we begin. Today's program is being streamed on Facebook Live for a remote audience, and it will be recorded, thanks to Susan. Thank you, Susan. If you know someone who could not be here today, please refer them to the library's social media to view the program after it is posted. You can see our website for our social media or our summer program brochures that have the addresses for our online sites. On your chair, for those in person, there should be a list of our local nonprofits who have volunteered their time to come in today, and those handouts also have the web addresses for each of their organizations. Today's program is made possible by the Chanhassen Communities of Belonging. Members of this grassroots group meet here at the library or in the summertime up at the Farmers Market at City Center Park every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. They also plan and host several programs like this one each month here at the library. Please join us to create a community where everyone feels welcome. And if I could have members just raise your hands so people know who to talk to. We got a bunch today. They can tell you more, and we have information. Yes, thank you. Applause for sure. Carver County is served by many nonprofit organizations that provide direct services for basic needs or stabilizing support to assist individuals and local families in need. Most of these organizations have lost funding or will not be able to even apply for critical funding this year or for the foreseeable future. Obviously, all nonprofits could use your financial support, but the goal of today's program is to provide information not only about what these local organizations do for you and your neighbors through these vital programs, but also how you can get involved, volunteering your time, your talents, your connections, and other actions that you can take to build a better community. Information from our presenters is available on the tables at the back of the room and will be in the lobby after this program. Please take information and pass it along generously. So that all of our guests have time to share their information, please hold questions until the end. You should have a blank sheet on your chair to write any questions down as they occur to you, or for those online, live can submit questions to Susan. We will then read those aloud so that we are sure that our remote audience can hear both the questions and the answers through our microphones up here. Finally, before you leave today, please take a moment to fill out a very brief anonymous survey for the library about this program to let us know not only what you thought, but what else you would like to see here at your community library. I am very proud to present all of our speakers today. As most people are fans of Mr. Rogers, these are our helpers. These are the ones we look to when times are stressful. And so I wanted to begin with his quote, "Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping." And our first one today will be Prop.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay? Is that good? Okay, all right, well, welcome. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here alongside all of you and all these wonderful other organizations that are in the community, and that we're all here for the common good of helping out and doing what we can. So my name is Jessica Kingsley. I'm the Director of Client Services at Prop Food. So we are the food shelf that serves Eden Prairie, Chanhassen, and all of the surrounding communities. We started just over 50 years ago. Our name PROP stands for People Reaching Out to People. And so our mission really is rooted in neighbors helping each other out, seeing the need in the community, and coming together and finding ways to serve. And so, like I said, we started in Eden Prairie and over time have grown, of course, to include Chanhassen. We serve many local communities as well. So we are most known for being a food shelf, so the food services that we provide. Our services, as was mentioned, as you know, everybody here I'm sure can attest to, the needs have just grown and are continuing to grow in our communities. In the time that I've been at PROP, which is about three and a half years, we've had an over 60% increase in the amount of families and people that are coming for food, who are facing food insecurity and coming to utilize our services. So that need is there, it's not going away. You know, we are very fortunate that in Chanhassen, in Eden Prairie, in our surrounding communities, we have a lot of resources and a lot of people that have resources to give back. We also have a lot of people in need in the community as well. So as I mentioned, food is the main service that we provide that most people are familiar with. Our food shelf can serve families up to 2 times a month, and it's set up very much like a mini grocery store. So families can come in and actually shop through and select the items that they want. So, you know, there's a produce section, there's a dairy section, there's canned goods and cereals and grains and proteins and all the things. And it's all based on household size. So, you know, if we have a family that maybe a single person is a household of 1, and then we also have a family coming in that is shopping for 6 people, we want to make sure that they're getting the right amount of food for their household needs, and also according to the things that their household likes to eat and knows how to prepare and is familiar to them. So we really do our best to try to not only keep a good selection in stock, but a variety of foods that may be familiar to different cultures and different even medical needs for, you know, dietary restrictions and things like that. So one of the ways, of course, that we are always looking for support is through donations. Food, monetary donations, all of that goes, you know, back to into our food mart. We're fortunate that we get a lot of donations, but things that maybe we don't get donated as often or as regularly that we want to make sure that we keep on the shelves for families to access, those are things that we go out and purchase as well. We always keep on our website a list of our most needed items. I will say right now that has been personal hygiene items, paper towels, toilet paper, things like that, feminine hygiene products, baby items, diapers especially, obviously the food items that everybody thinks of, but a lot of the families that come to us really rely on getting some of those other household items from the food shelf as well. So those are things that are always in demand. In addition to food, some other services that we provide, we really try to take a wraparound, a holistic approach with the families and the clients that we serve. So I work with a team of wonderful case managers, and we will sit down with families and individuals, and you know, if they may be coming into the food shelf, coming into PROP the first time for food, but as we're working with them, we find out they're behind on rent and maybe at risk of eviction, and you know, there's young children in the household. Maybe the family vehicle just recently broke down, and that is crucial for them to be able to get to jobs and to school and to appointments. But you know, they're financially struggling to pay for that. So we have some programs that can help with emergency short-term financial assistance for things like rent, a car repair program, We can help with utilities if electricity or gas is at risk of being shut off or has been shut off. We can help families with that. They would apply with us. There's a process to go through income eligibility and some different things like that, but we'll work with each of the families individually. And for any of those services, if for some reason we're not able to help, if they don't meet the income criteria or eligibility, whatever that may be, which that can vary depending on some of the grants and the funding that we get. But we'll work closely with a lot of the organizations that are here and other organizations in the community to try to make sure that there's kind of a warm handoff to another resource or somebody else that may be able to help. Or maybe we can provide something and another organization can come in and provide something else. So we really try to stay connected with the community and other providers in that way too. Some of the ways to support us, as I mentioned, donations we're always very, very appreciative of. Volunteering. We would not be able to do what we do without the wonderful volunteers that we have. As an organization, we have, about 11 paid staff, but we rely on close to 150 volunteers every week to do what we do. To put that in perspective, this past fiscal year that just ended for us, we are close to, I think, just under the 1 million pounds of food mark that we distributed in the last year out of the food shelf. Even in the time that I've been at Prop, that's grown from, 500-something thousand pounds. So that amount of food comes in, gets stocked, and goes out every year. So again, with the volunteers that we have, we would not be able to do that and meet the needs of the community without them. So some of the volunteer opportunities, generally we're looking for a once a week commitment. If you're able to do something regularly, either volunteering in the food mart, helping when families come through to shop, sorting through donations, stocking the shelves. We have volunteers that will do more direct client services, so that may be answering the phones, helping clients schedule appointments for their food mart visit. A lot of, administrative, office, sorts of things like that. Even a lot of one-time opportunities, anything from, coming in to do help with a mailing that might be going out, or Night to Unite, for example, is a big food collection event for us every year from all the different neighborhood block parties, and a lot of those donations come back into Prop. So we get a lot of food, and we need to sort that out. So we're always in need of volunteers, always appreciating whatever sorts of support that we can get there. So again, that information is on our website. We do actually have a form on the website for volunteer opportunities, and if you're interested, you can submit your information and then we will get in contact with you. And as I mentioned, our most needed items are listed there as well. And that does rotate seasonally. We have different programs going on. For example, right now in the summer, we do something called Summer Food for Kids, which is for the June, July, and August months when kids are out of school. Normally, they are now, wonderfully getting free breakfast and lunch every day at school. And during the summer, when they're not getting that, that is a huge impact for a lot of families. So during the summer months, any families that come in that have children 18 and under have the opportunity to get additional kind of kid-friendly items: mac and cheese, peanut butter and jelly, crackers, granola bars, all that kind of stuff. So all of those things, like I said, are updated seasonally on our website as well. So I think that is about my time. Thank you again, and any questions? My card is on. I'm not going to take questions now. We'll do those at the end, but my card is on the table in the back. So if you do have questions later, or you think of something after, feel free to take my card. Also on the website, and again, my name is Jessica, and my email is right on the website too. So thank you.
All right.
Could you have them give their location? It's never on any of these cards.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that would be great. And Jessica, you're out of Eden Prairie, yes? Yeah. All right, and something else I need to tell the speakers is there are cords here, so watch your step. All right, we will move to the Kim from the Southern Valley Alliance. And we're out of order on your keys.
Hi everyone, as Linnea mentioned, my name is Kim. I'm from Southern Valley Alliance, or SVA, and we are located in Shakopee. We were founded in Belle Plaine in the 80s, and there was a survivor in Belle Plaine. That is kind of the term that we use for people who experience domestic violence. And she founded Southern Valley Alliance for Battered Women. And now we have moved to Shakopee because of greater access to public transportation, to our offices. We are right by kind of the courthouse legal systems. And we have experienced about a 20% increase since of the need of our services since we moved to Shakopee, just because of that greater access. And also, we are community funded. So what does that even mean? We, as Linnea mentioned, we do a lot of times rely on those grants that we're not really able to apply for in the upcoming future, but also we rely on donations. But I'm here today to talk about our volunteer program. I am so very proud of our volunteer program because there's so many different things that people can do. I will go through what SVA does, and every single thing volunteers can get involved with. There's not one area in Southern Valley Alliance that we don't take volunteers. So it's really a program where everybody can find a place that's available and accessible to them. First of all, we have a crisis line 24/7, and volunteers can absolutely be advocates. They can work with clients. They can go to court with clients if need be. And they can work with our clients in transitional housing. We do not have a shelter. However, we have a transitional housing program where we have different apartment units scattered throughout Scott and Carver counties where we help survivors pay the rent on the unit. So it's a little bit more victim-centered so people can have their own space. And then we also do education and prevention. I am the community outreach manager. So doing events like this, we set up tables at different events, try to get the word out, because ultimately at SVA, our vision is to end domestic violence, and we absolutely cannot do that without community support. In 2023, Minnesota saw the most people lose their lives due to domestic violence that has been reported. So there is more reporting and there are more resources for survivors than ever. However, the problem is absolutely not going away, and we need as much support as we can get. And we also have legal advocacy. As I mentioned, volunteers can go to court with people. Be that person where just have that emotional support for that person if they have to see their partner or their ex-partner in court. And that is just such a valuable thing that people can do. Also, as I mentioned, it's very accessible. So if people want to do office work, there's always office work in nonprofits. So that is something that they can do as well. We pass out crisis line posters. So posters where people can tear off our crisis line number. We serve both Scott and Carver counties. So we have lots of different cities, lots of different locations where we want to spread the word. So if you're interested in either working directly with survivors of domestic abuse, or you're interested in just getting the word out or helping in any way that our nonprofit needs, please there is a flyer in the back. There's a QR code, so there's a form you can fill out if you're interested in volunteering. There's also my card. And our website is svamn.org, which is probably on the sheet. And thank you all. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, Kim. We will turn to Sarah with the Grief Club of Minnesota.
Thank you. Welcome, and thank you for being here. I am
Sarah Krinke, and I am the Executive Director and Co-Founder and Grief Therapist with the Grief Club of Minnesota. And we are located just a couple of miles from here behind the Chanhassen Rec Center. There's a picture of our building and space there. But the mission of the Grief Club of Minnesota is that it's a safe and welcoming place where we provide clinical grief support to children, teens, young adults, and their caregivers. And providing a place where they feel like they belong, a place that feels like they can make connections with people who understand the multifaceted emotions that go hand in hand with an out-of-order death, and a place where they can process pain and a place where they can heal. And so I want to just share a little bit about the background of how we came to be, because I think it's important in as all of us share about our organizations, sort of about the why and why do we exist, because we are very unique. We're the only grief center in the state of Minnesota with our philosophy of care. While they exist throughout the country, there is nothing like that here in our state. And so for me, it's both personal and professional. I was a teenager when my mom died, and so certainly know the personal side of grief. And although I look so young, I am a little older, but all those years ago when my mom died, 30 plus years ago, there was no grief support. We didn't talk much about her or the grief or the pain, and so I just always knew from a young age that I wanted to do something for kids and their families who were grieving. And so that was always sort of just planted in my heart. And so my professional career as a licensed therapist has been 30 plus years of dedicating my time in the field of death, dying, and bereavement. And so I have worked for decades at a large healthcare corporation here in the metro area, providing grief support in schools and in hospice. Had my own private practice, and have had the opportunity to kind of speak nationally on childhood bereavement and bringing it to the awareness of our communities. And so I have just seen the need of us being able to provide kind of specialized, skilled therapists who that is our area of focus. And so I have been probably behind the scenes planning for a grief center with my co-founder, Kara Mearns-Thompson, for probably 10 to 15 years, having visited grief centers throughout the country before really making that launch here in Minnesota, because we know, each of us, that grief doesn't go away. And we know that the numbers of those who are grieving is rising here in Minnesota, with the number of deaths by suicide, homicide, fentanyl overdoses. What's often forgotten are those that are left behind. And we work very closely with the childhood bereavement estimation model out of Denver, Colorado, and looking at what the cost of inaction is for especially children, teens, and young adults not getting the proper mental health services that they need, and the cost of inaction, leading to increased use in substance abuse, family dissonance, a drop in their school attendance, a drop in grades. And so my colleague and I, Kara, launched the Grief Club of Minnesota 5 years ago. And in that time, our first year, we were in a little tiny office, and we served, we had about 397 visits come through our door that year. We have the great fortune of having a larger space and the funding to be able to hire more staff. And so in 2024 alone, that number increased to 4,000 visits. So our nonprofit has grown tenfold in 4 years, which I am so grateful, of course, for people who volunteer their time, their talents, their treasures in lots of different ways, but also just so grateful for the families that trust us with their mental health care and support. And so We know that given the recent statistics that 1 in 11 children under the age of 18 will experience the death of a parent or a sibling before they're, again, 18 years old. And so in Minnesota alone, that number equates to approximately 92,000 children just in Minnesota who have had a parent or a sibling who has died. And that number increases to about 221,000 in Minnesota alone under the age of 25. So we know that the need is great. Our philosophy is that grief has been a public health issue for many, many years that has been often unaddressed. And so we just feel really privileged to be able to hold space and receive support of community members to be able to do what we do. And when you think of a grief center, it's hard to understand the concept, again, because it doesn't exist here in Minnesota. But it's more than a place where you go for maybe your 60-minute session, individual or a family or even a support group, that it's a place that's specifically designed to enhance grief work. So offering different modalities of grief expression. We know that not everybody, and especially kids, don't have the words to express their feelings and emotions. So having an art therapy room, a music therapy room, a teen room, a place where we focus on wellness and meditation and mind and breath work. So it's bringing all of that together in one space for people to process their pain in whatever modality feels most appropriate and comfortable for them. And we know also that from research that a child experiencing the death of a parent or a sibling is reported as the most disruptive emotional shift in their life than all other types of mental health challenges. So we serve families kind of a specific area, recognizing that, of course, all of us grieve different things beyond a human death, and people grieve, of course, at all ages. Our specific area of focus, because there's just such a lack of services for that, is, you maybe heard me refer to it before, out-of-order deaths. And so we serve whole families where there has been the death of a child age 25 and under, so providing support services for the parents and other siblings, if there are other siblings in the family. And then we provide services for families where there's been the death of a parent and there are children aged 25 and under. So again, it's serving the whole family, and all of those services are provided by licensed mental health therapists like myself, and they're all provided at no cost. They're ongoing services, and we don't work with insurance companies. So it's a very unique type of care that we receive, and we don't receive any government funding, which at one point was really unfortunate, and now we're like, well, that's a good thing we weren't relying on that. But we rely on the generosity of our community members and corporations. We serve families from all over the state of Minnesota. We have families that are driving up to 2-3 hours one way to receive the services. And our focus will always be to provide high quality and high compassion services to those that we serve. And the services include individual counseling and family counseling. We have, I think right now, we have active about 16 different support groups. So we have a teen group, middle school groups, death of a child from substance use, young widow groups. I think we have 5 young widow groups right now, young widowers groups. So really trying to be intentional and focusing on what the demand and the need is within our community, and just again holding that space where people feel like they have a place where they belong, because so often people don't feel that way. They feel like they have to put this mask on and try to act like they're doing okay, and certainly grief changes over time, but we feel like an important part of our role is just to help educate and bring awareness to the community about, like I said, kind of that public health issue of those who are grieving but perhaps not receiving the support that they need and deserve, just like all the other people that are served through the nonprofits. So I just want to close here with a quote that a kiddo just said to me the other day, where his brother had died, and his mom said, like, the kids, nobody wants to come, they're mad that they're coming, and I said, let's just give it a try a couple of times, and if after that they're like, I don't want to ever go back there, we can talk. And so often people say, and it makes such sense, is this is a club I never wanted to be a part of. Like, nobody wants to be a part of our club. If life hands you the circumstances, unfortunately, they're often so grateful that our club exists. So this little guy, 8 years old, I was talking with him. His family came for a family session, and they all kind of sat there pretty upset. And at the end, the mom called me at the end of that day and said, all the kids want to come back for individual. And I was like, wow, that's good. But this little guy, when I saw him then individually at the next session, he said these words to me. He said, I always thought it would just be sad when we came here because we all miss my brother so much. But I actually get really excited to come here because it's the only place that we really talk about him. And when I'm at school and on my baseball team, I always just feel so different than all the other kids. And when I come here, I don't feel different. I feel like other people get it. Our family even smiles and laughs when we're here. And I like being with kids who are like me. Yeah. So, kind of wrapping up in regards to volunteer opportunities, there are many. We have opportunities to be a part of. We have a lot of special events throughout the year. We just did a big all-star gathering camp where we had professional and college athletes who have a grief story, and so they came and they shared about how their grief impacted them, but it certainly didn't take over their whole identity, that they were still able to go forward and do their desire to be a professional hockey player or to play college football. But we had about 60 kiddos there, and so that was an event where we needed lots of volunteers to do lots of different things. So we have our big annual soiree coming up in September that requires lots of volunteers. Down to things like, a handyman when the doorknob is broke. We own a 10,000 square foot building, and the days when the toilet's not working, and my staff comes to me and says, Sarah, the toilet's not working. I'm like, gosh, okay, let's see if we can figure this out. So, we've got a few volunteers that are handyman or former plumbers, whatever it is, that we can call, and they're happy to come in and help us out in those ways. So, my brochure, our brochure, is back there. Feel free to take that. There's a few of my cards back there, but we've always wanted the Grief Club to be a place of community where everybody feels like they belong there, and a place that just feels safe and welcoming. And like others have mentioned, we truly couldn't do what we do without the kindness and the generosity of people and their generous ways of supporting kids and their families whose hearts are hurting. So, thank you.
Oh, that was a little emotional. I wanted to use this opportunity to plug a program that we're going to have in September. When you mentioned suicide, we have NAMI is going to be bringing in a trained presenter for suicide prevention. The QPR training. So look for that. It's currently on our website. It's also going to be our fall brochure of all the programs for September, October, November will be out in a couple of weeks. So make sure to look for that. Well, from something overwhelming maybe to something about babies. So we will switch to Jill from Beyond New Beginnings.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. Good to hear all these great stories about services, and we use most of them in our program, so that's great. Our program is Beyond New Beginnings, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the history so you understand the name. New Beginnings is a high school program for pregnant and parenting teens. It's in Chaska. It's been there 45 years, I think. And I taught there for many years. And we'd have moms come who were pregnant or parenting, and then we'd help them get their high school diploma. They'd work hard and then move on after they graduated. And we had this kind of hole in our heart for some of those moms who would leave us and then go right back into some unhealthy living situations with their kids now that they're 19 or 20 or something. And kind of wished that there was a housing program for these new moms and their young children. And Sue Schmidt, who was the lead teacher of the New Beginnings program, was speaking to a Rotary Club in Chaska, and they were giving money, and she was telling them about the New Beginnings high school program. And at the end of her speech, she kind of said, and next time I come here, I'm going to ask for a house for my girls. And someone in the audience named Russ St. John was in the audience listening and said, why couldn't we do that? So he talked to Sue and said, do you really mean that? Do you really want housing for your moms? And she said, yeah, that would be so wonderful for some of these families. And so then Russ talked to me, and we talked to the superintendent, and we started thinking, we could do this, I think. How could we do it? We didn't know. But we both had faith, and we both wanted to work together. I had just retired, so I had a little extra time on my hands, and we got the go-ahead and said, let's talk to everybody in the community, and people were really supportive. They're like, oh, I wish there was a program like that when I was young or when my sister had a baby or whatever. So people were really supporting us, and people in Chaska just sort of rallied around, and we weren't sure if we'd buy a building or rent a building or build a building. But then the Community Development Agency in Chaska, Carver County, they buy homes and they fix them up for low-income families. They said, we just bought a house in downtown Chaska. It has 4 two-bedroom apartments and a community space, a big space downstairs for groups and childcare, whatever you need. So we're kind of like, well, they're like, you want to use it for your program? I was like, well, yeah, I guess that would be great. It's actually super old. It's built in 1870, but it's one of those really treasury houses. And we got it worked out with them, and they do all the leases and the maintenance and all the hard stuff, and we do the programming for the moms and make sure everything goes well with the children while they're there. So that ended up being a real miracle for us. So that was how the history started. So it's from New Beginnings to beyond New Beginnings. This is the next step. Is that obvious? And then our funding comes mostly from individuals, corporations. The way they afford their rent is through a federal program, though. That's 30% of their income pays for their rent. So if that changes, we're going to have to refigure our funding. But right now, everything else is paid for by churches and faith communities and businesses and individuals. Our main goal is to provide safe, secure housing for moms and kids with love, support, nurturing, and resources. So they commit to 1 year with us, and then after a year, we hope that they can move on to live independently. They've got the skills, they know the resources. If they need another year, we can negotiate that, but then we like to get another family in so we can kind of keep people rotating through. And while they're living with us, we really want them to be committed to something to improve their lives. They don't want to repeat the cycle of poverty for the next generation. So are you going to go to school? Are you going to work? What is your plan? How are you going to make it different, better for yourselves? So then we can help people find where they can go to school or where they might be able to work. The kinds of families we have are like a mom her own mom is an alcoholic. Her dad died. She has really no support at home. So she's just out there sort of floundering, and in the meantime, she's got some good skills. She's had some support off and on, and now she's going to school to become a special educator. She's been a special ed para, helper in the classroom for the last couple of years, and now she's feeling confident enough to become a teacher herself. We have moms who've been just moving from place to place. They don't have enough money to pay their rent each month, so then they end up going to this house or that house or in a car. What happens with people who don't have housing. So when people come to us, then they know they're going to be here for at least a year, safe, secure. They can make plans. The kids come back to the same house every night. They came with the same toys. The same group of people are there. And what we provide, besides housing, is some life skills classes, so they can Monday nights, the night we have a support group, we have gather in our common space for community meal. Everybody sits down and tries to eat together. Not all the kids are sitting at all the same time, but that's the idea. We're all there. And then we have somebody come in to do a lesson on budgeting or parenting or mental health or what do you need to know about renting or moving or anything like that. So they kind of pick what topics they're interested in. We usually have people like Kim from Southern Valley come out and talk to our group too, so they have a lot of resources. And that's a nice night because they really can connect and kind of build their own support group. And we have alumni who've been through the program who still come back on Monday nights just because they like it so much. The people who are in the program now many of them are first generation college students, so they're the first ones in their family to ever go to school past high school. So it's helpful for them to have someone like us to kind of walk them through the process or remind them about things that need to be done so they can be successful. The programs they're following right now, one are AA degrees at the community college in marketing. One of our moms got a marketing degree, and I think she's back there at the what is it called? The garden place where they're selling the food today. Farmers market. Yeah, not garden market. Farmers market. I think she's back there selling her cookies today with her marketing degree. Anyway, somebody else is studying CAD, the computer aided design program. And we have another mom in the law enforcement program. So it's a variety of programs, and we're so happy that they're willing to try those. It takes a lot of courage to step out and try something new and harder and something they've never done or heard of before within their family. We have a lot of wonderful community support people. We've had no bad feedback. We're wondering if we made this place, would people be like, oh, we don't want that in our neighborhood, but we never got a word like that from anybody. And we have a beautiful backyard right now. Somebody donated a fence so it's safe for the kids to play in. Somebody donated a play area, which just went in. Some people donated to put the play area together for us. It's just one thing after another. So it's kind of a miracle after a miracle because people want to help other people. And it's encouraging, and it makes you feel like something good is happening in the world. Sometimes we do special activities with the families where we'll go to a Twins game and we get free tickets to the Twins games, or Stages Theater, Children's Theater, some kind of activities that they really appreciate, and then they can find out a way to go back to the Children's Museum or the Science Museum, or we're going to be going fishing in a couple weeks with the Chaska area, fishing with friends, and that's always a big hit. Picnics. The kinds of volunteers we need are meal providers. Monday night we have a community meal. So if you're a person who likes to cook and you don't really have a big group to cook for, we could use meals for 12 to 15 people on a Monday night. Just bring them down and then we'll serve them to the moms at 5:30. Otherwise we can get meals from St. John's Lutheran Church, which has meals on Monday nights too. We also can use child care helpers when we have our classes. We need adults to help care for the kids while the moms are in class. And we have some nice child care helpers right now, but people kind of rotate in and out, and most of them are grandparents, so they love having these little kids to play with, and we're really thankful for them. Other ways you could be volunteering would be to provide some gift cards for our incentive program, to provide gifts at Christmas, to provide funds for a birthday party for a child, helping with the move in, move out. Every year we got to have somebody put all the furniture in and take all the furniture out and get the next furniture in. So if there are people who like doing that, we can always use that. We're so thankful for this opportunity to have these. We have our annual report back there. It just came out, it's hot off the press, about all the things that happened last year. So if you want to take a look at it, you can. If you need one, you can take one. And then we have these brochures, which are nice. That just talk about exactly what we do and who we do it with and how they function in our program. So feel free to take one of those and call me if you have any questions. I'm Jill, and my card is back there. Thank you.
Okay, Terry is here with CAP.
Well, thank you for having me today, inviting me here. I also share a story, like some of you have shared, that CAP agency stands for Community Action Partnership. So we partner with other organizations and we try to fill in the gaps. We don't want to duplicate any services. So whereas we have food programs, we want to also encourage people to take advantage of food programs that are in the community. We started 60 years ago, President Lyndon Johnson, on the war against poverty. So this is our 60th birthday this year. So we have a lot of programs. I have the brochures in the back. It's not real illustrious that it has, because there's so many programs and there's so many things that people might want to take advantage of. And yo hablo español también, de otro lado está en español. So we have our second largest group that we serve, our Spanish-speaking clients. I took Spanish in high school and in college, and I'm a little rusty right now because I don't speak it every day, but it does come back to me when people start talking to me, and I'm not a shy person, so I don't mind being corrected if I'm using the wrong subjunctive or the past preterite, or Lord knows there's so many different endings in Spanish, but that's good. The other thing that I wanted to point out that I have in the back, which is a little bit of a brag sheet, but a lot of times people don't realize how big the CAP agency is. People say, oh yeah, I think you guys have a food shelf there in Shakopee. And we're like, yes, we do, but we also have 22 programs. Really? Aren't you part of the county? No, we're Scott, Carver, Dakota Community Action Partnership. So we cover those 3 counties, but we're not part of the county. And we also have programs that we work in cooperation with the government. And so we are a little worrisome of programs that might not get future funding. So we do to rely on the generous donations of people that want to donate to us, who are able to, and then also the wonderful volunteers that we have. So I am going to go through a little bit on this sheet of all the programs. I started at the CAP agency as a client. My daughter was in WIC and Head Start, and they were a little thrilled to hear that I did have a college degree and I did speak Spanish, and they're like, ooh, we just thought you were a Head Start mom. And I'm like, well, I am. And so then now, all these years later, I'm proud to say she has a PhD in pharmacy, and she's a pharmacist, and she's a manager at her pharmacy at Sam's Club in Apple Valley. So she partners with us now. She gives free immunizations. She goes to a lot of the CDA buildings and does flu clinics. She can give COVID shots. I mean, pretty much any shots that pharmacists are able to give. The shingles, Shingrix is very important. Some people ask me, do you have your vaccinations are current? I'm like, of course they are. With, a daughter, I'm not going to get around not having all of my shots. So I started in 1989, so I'm 35 and a half years at the CAP agency. I'm very proud to represent the CAP agency. There's a lot of programs that we do that are dependent on income, but there are many that are not. So I'm currently in the CHORE program for seniors, which means we help people that are age 60 and over. We do ask that they be low to moderate income seniors. I do a variety of things in CHORE. People are like, what does CHORE stand for? And people of my age would know that you don't get dinner until your chores are done. And so we do things like outside lawn maintenance, lawn mowing, maybe snow removal. We do inside cleaning, deep cleaning. We also have a homemaker contingent, and then we have assisted transportation. It's a very small program, but I added that when I wrote the grant for last year because we had a lot of people said, I need a ride. And there's a lot of, WeCab I noticed is here today. There is a lot of ride programs that are available, but sometimes seniors are hesitant to use Lyft or Uber. They're like, I don't know how to do that, or the bus will come, but I got to walk a block or 2 blocks. I can't walk that far with my groceries. So we provide door-to-door services. I utilize either paid independent contractors, or we have volunteers as well. They use their own cars. We don't have a fleet of trucks, but it is a very good service for people who need. I live in, let's say this one gentleman I live in Apple Valley, and I need to have an eye appointment in Minnetonka. So I called up one of my volunteers. He said, got it, I will do that. So gives him a ride. All of our programs are on a sliding fee, so it's based on the senior's stated monthly income. This program is funded by Trellis, which is the local area agency on aging. I used to do Medicare counseling for them. They're a very good partner. They also do our Meals on Wheels program. We cover Scott, Carver, and Dakota with that. And I'm back to my brag sheet here. We served almost 135,000 meals to seniors in the last year. And speaking of my chore program, 179 seniors. It doesn't sound like a lot, but for that senior who had routine cleaning, maybe gets their lawn mowed or snow shoveled, it's crucial to help them age in place. So I'm very proud of that program. Other programs that we do are, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Federal Energy Assistance Program. That helps pay for people's utilities. That is a heating season program, so that runs from October through the end of May, or until the money runs out. That has 3 components. We do the grants that we help, like let's say you have Xcel Energy and you have CenterPoint Energy. That could give a grant to each one of those 2. And then also if you're a homeowner, we might also repair or replace your furnace. And then if you are living in one of the communities that through utility, and we have a partnership with them, we have a conservation improvement plan. We could upgrade your appliances. So you could get a new AC air conditioning. You could get a new dishwasher. You could get a new stove. Well, that will help you save money over the long term because that old appliance is using too much energy. So that's a good program. We also education. Like I mentioned, my daughter was in Head Start. Since then, we've expanded the program. Now it's early Head Start. So we serve people before they're even born, all the way up to, I have a senior that lives in Chanhassen here, and he's 98, and he's still living in his home. So we provide cleaning for him, and once in a while we'll do some spring cleanup, some fall cleanup. So before you're born, till 98, that's the breadth of what we probably could have older people too in the Meals on Wheels. So we serve a lot of people. The other program that I wanted to tell you about, other people from PROP talked about food shelf. We have a big food shelf in Shakopee. We serve Scott County residents, but I'm proud to say that we started the Waconia United Food Shelf in Waconia. We started the Bountiful Basket in Chaska. We worked together with them because I've been around so long. People like, oh, you know about the food shelf in Waconia? I'm like, I scouted out the location for that place since I've worked at CAP for so long. So it's fun to be able to be part of the community, and I know as a former client what it's like to be a person that needs help. It doesn't mean you're always going to need help, but when you need help, it's great when it's there. So we have a big food shelf in Shakopee, and like the gal from PROP, we do have a self-serve model where people can make an appointment and they can come in and shop for the things that their family likes. We also have another curbside service where people can apply and make an appointment online, and then they drive up and the groceries will be carted out to them in their car. That one you don't have as much choice because people will be like, oh, a household of 4. They get this much if we have meat, this much cans of fruits and vegetables, they will do that for a household of 4. That one is you can usually get the same day appointment. And the one that you can go into the food shelf and shop, that one does have, unfortunately, a lag time of maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So that is once a month, people can get help. We have offices in all 3 counties. We just opened up a Chaska office. We had offices before in Chaska, and we closed that. We had a big office in Jonathan, and it was felt like that with the rent was taking so much money, maybe we could use that money to give to client services. So we have an office now on 2nd Avenue in Chaska. We have our main office in Shakopee on 1st Avenue, and then we have an office in Rosemount. And that's where all of our energy assistance workers are, in Rosemount. Like I said, I do the chore program for seniors, and then we also have the Meals on Wheels. That's a nutritious meal that's served at noontime. We could not do that program without volunteers. We have about maybe 10, 12 paid staff. The site coordinators that are at, let's say the site where the food, we have a food catering company that brings us the food. It could be Salisbury steak, mashed potatoes, maybe a vegetable, a bun with some butter, a little dessert. They bring the food, and then we dish it up into trays, and we keep them hot. And then we also have a cold food option and then we have milk. So all of our volunteers come to the site, bring the list of all the people that need it, and they drive it right to the house of the person that needs it. Knocks on the door, here's your food, or sometimes people say, oh, I have a cooler out there, just put it in the cooler. I volunteered for that program a couple times. It's very rewarding. That one is based on age and need. It's not based on income. So that's our Meals on Wheels, and like I said, that serves a lot of people. Then the other program that I wanted to tell you about, a community program, so Hope for the Holidays, that helps match up a family. They adopt a family, so the family meets with one of our coordinators, and they get to write a wish list. My 15-year-old would love these 2 items up to $50. Then we ask for donors, and they go actually shopping, and they get that exact thing that those children wanted, and then we ask if they could provide a gift card as well for the parents. And then we have the toy distribution. We don't have enough donors for that adopt a family, but we have toy distribution, so people can donate the toys, and then people are able to go through the toys that are on display and get those for their children. Then we just added about 5 or 6 years ago the Eid celebration. I'm Muslim myself, so I think it's very important that we be very diverse with our clientele. So at the end of the holy month of Ramadan, we have an Eid celebration so people can get food and gifts, and they don't exclude it. I mean, people don't have to recite the Shahada to know that they're Muslim. Anybody can participate in that program. So that's we want to be very inclusive. So we started that about 5, 6 years ago. And then we also have the Adopt a Senior. So that one, I think you guys have the, it's not Emerson. Oh, shoot, I'm going to forget. There's a really big company here in Chanhassen, and maybe it'll come to me. And they donate a whole bunch of gift bags that we give to like 900 seniors. And in this gift bag is like laundry detergent, dish soap, a $10 gift card maybe to Cub or a Target. They have maybe some warm slippers. They have a roll of toilet paper. So those are given out. And I had one senior call me, and she had tears in her voice, and she said, thank you so much. I'm remembered. I have nobody. So it was so nice to be remembered during the holidays. So we do that. And then Parents Helping Parents, that is a support group. I think the Battered Women of Southern Valley Alliance, they also talked about support groups. We have a support group for parents, so that's very helpful because parents need a lot of support. Sometimes it's very hard. It's always hard raising children. I had one daughter, but now I babysit my 3 grandkids. I actually went part-time to babysit the grandkids, and sometimes my grandkids appreciate me and sometimes they don't because I'm a little bit more strict, and so it's sometimes very challenging. We have a big housing program. So people talked about rent assistance. We do that. We actually own housing in Dakota County. We have traditional housing. We can sometimes put people up in a hotel. I used to run the emergency services program at the cab agency. It's very daunting when you hear about people who are unhoused and how challenging that is. So people can call, and we cover Scott, Carver, and Dakota. The other thing that we do is CAP, local imports. I'm sorry to say I don't get to write vouchers anymore for that program, but it is a huge thrift shop. We take donations and then we sell to the public. So everything is like garage sale priced. So it's really a good opportunity. We call it local imports. It's in Shakopee. It's close to the Sam's Club, Walmart, and so we bought it, the Pier 1 imports, and we call it local imports. So we have everything there goes back to donate to our food shelf and our holiday programs. And then I noticed on the sheet here, unfortunately, River Valley Health Services wasn't that's probably our newest program that we have. I was actually was on the cutting edge of starting that in 2005 with a public health nurse and worked there for 10 years as the Spanish translator. And then when I went part-time in 2015, Maritza Real, who is much better in Spanish than I am, she took over, and now we do. Chaska has an office at East Creek Family Center, and then also they're inside the CAP agency, and they've all in Shakopee, and they've also added doctors. So instead of referring somebody to, let's say, Southside Dental Services, they actually have a doctor who can write a prescription out. So that's very helpful. I will take questions later. I don't know, talked my time. So thank you very much for having me and inviting me. And sorry, I put my water here, just in case I had a frog in my throat. So don't want to trip.
Thank you, Terry. All right, we have Shirley with We Can and We Cab.
It's so nice to see people out looking for ways to volunteer and contribute. It does my heart good to see that. The story of WeCab, our mission is rooted in the origin story. So actually the gentleman you see in that picture there founded WeCab like in 2015, 2013, before I got there. And it started because the bus service was cut out to Mound, which is where we are located. And he needed a ride to get into Minneapolis. So he went to the city council in different places, and he ended up getting funding and commitment from a lot of people to start WeCab. And the tag is safe, affordable, flexible transportation. That is all we do. The only requirements for our riders is that they be 18 years old and ambulatory. So you have to get in and out of the vehicle. And other than that, we don't really screen for anything. So Mike started that in the Mound area way back when. And then a few years later, Mary Hirschberger Toon decided we needed a Carver presence. So we have service in Carver County. We have specified cities. We don't go everywhere because we're constrained by the volunteer availability. But we serve Carver. Let me make sure I get it right here. We serve Carver, Chanhassen, Chaska, Meyer, New Germany, Victoria, Waconia, and Watertown. Those are the cities that our riders can live in and register to become a rider and get a ride to wherever they need to go. Right now we probably run 1,000 miles a month, volunteer-driven miles. We have between 15 and 25 drivers per month that provide those rides. That number fluctuates a little bit. We have some snowbirds So we have sometimes fewer drivers in the winter than we otherwise would have. And then in the summer, everyone comes back and we have more. We don't have any restrictions on what ride request someone can make. So if they want to go to Hennepin County Medical Center, they can make that request. It just depends on whether or not we can have a volunteer. We have ride scheduling software, and we have an internet-based phone system. And between those two things, you don't have to be anywhere at a particular time. You can do whatever it is you would like to do. We oftentimes, and I would have to check with dispatch now, but we oftentimes have to limit what we do as far as giving rides to necessary ones. So medical and grocery is the priority. Other rides that aren't deemed as necessary fall down the priority ladder because we need more drivers. We need you, if you would be willing to look at us. We also have opportunities for dispatchers. So dispatching is when a rider calls up and says, hey, I need a ride to the grocery store on Friday at 2 o'clock. Can you pick me up and take me back? So that ride gets entered into our system, and a dispatcher does that. And then that information goes out to our driver base, and then the drivers can look at that and say, hey, I'd like to take that person to the grocery store on that day. So in practice, what actually happens is about 80% of our rides are taking people to the doctor. Even though we're a supplemental service, we get some pretty regular use in that area. And our drivers and our dispatchers are doing way more than just a job or a function or something they're doing. This is very important to our riders. It is very important. And I hear all the time how grateful they are that we have this service. Our drivers and our dispatchers are building bonds with the community. They're establishing relationships with the people that they're giving rides to and talking to. And everybody has a story. And the best benefit for this kind of a program is that you get to hear all those stories and learn about other people and do a little good on top of it. We have, between the two areas, West Tonka, where we started, and Carver, we're probably doing 2,000 miles a month. It's about roughly even in terms of where the miles are. But we have greater growth in Carver County. We add probably between 5 and 10 new riders per month in Carver. The demand isn't keeping up with our volunteer base, so we're having to prioritize rides more frequently, and sometimes we can't fill them. I would really like to make this a better percentage. If you have questions or are interested in further information, my direct line is 612-567-1673. That goes right to my cell phone. If you don't have time or want to think about it, here's our brochure in the back. What we need is help fulfilling our mission. If you can see a way to do that, I'd love to hear from you, and we'll do questions after. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Sin for Revitalizing Veterans' Dreams.
My name is Sin Robertson. I am the founder and director of Revitalizing Veterans' Dreams. I'm just going to put a big truth out there. I still get tremendously nervous when I do this. So give me about 30 seconds, and if I haven't worked through the bug, we're all going to do burpees together, because I do group fitness, and that's where I work through my fears. We were founded, and someday I am going to be brave enough to stand in this space and not get emotional. We were founded after a suicide turned my house upside down. March 3rd, 2023. I saw a great need, and I didn't feel anybody was coming to help me go through what I was going through, so I created Revitalizing Veterans' Dreams. And what Revitalizing Veterans Dreams is, we're a nonprofit working to reduce veteran suicide. And the fact that it doesn't hurt every American's heart that we are losing over 22 veterans a day makes me so sad. And I'm going to tell you that that statistic is not a true statistic. There is many factors in that statistic not being upfront. One, they haven't done the new data since 2022. Two, if a veteran is not registered with our VSO, they are not counted in any of our data. So we're on a big push to try to get every veteran in this county at least to the VSO to get data. I don't know what word to put there, to get recognized. He doesn't have to take service. She doesn't have to take services. But if we could get an exact number of how many veterans we're losing, how many veterans are homeless, how many veterans are struggling, how many are doing successful. If I could talk to the successful ones, there's data there that I could use. But if we don't know who they are, we're kind of all lost. So I get on tangents. I'm sorry.
What's a VSO?
Veteran Service Officer. Our county VSO is Stephen Walker. I love him. He is amazing. I speak with him every 3-ish weeks. However, our patterns do this of our schedule. I will go with a veteran to the VSO. I will go to the VSO for the veteran because sometimes there's a fear and a barrier there. So I want to take every barrier away to getting somebody help because it just takes one moment of action to save a life. It just takes me showing up and caring to save a life. So our mission is to empower veterans by improving their mental, physical, and spiritual vitality. We do this through community fitness opportunities, in turn building a community where a veteran can feel supported, engaged, and energized. This combination allows veterans to grow stronger and dream of a future beyond their camouflage. We started doing this with the two classic ways, veterans and active. With our veterans, we're kind of on another mission of educating the community. I say the word veteran and a lot of civilians think World War II. We probably have about 6 of them left, bless their hearts, but that is a pocket of veterans we're losing. The veterans that are struggling with health, hearing loss, housing, transportation, isolation is our Vietnam veterans. And then we have a GWAT veteran, that's our global war on terror, that's our Afghanistan, Iraqs. They're in trouble with law. They're in trouble with repeat PTSD, violent outbursts. They're in trouble with repeat treatment issues. They're in trouble with funding being cutted at the VA. So when you say the word veteran and what do you do to help a veteran, it's different because what I do for my Vietnam veteran is different than what I do for my global war on terror veteran. My global war on terror veteran has kids, jobs, multiple divorces, so they have different pulls, so it's hard to get in front of them, where I can get in front of my Vietnam veteran a lot easier for the one-on-one time because they're home, they're retired, they're doing the grandparent duty, their scheduling is a lot more easy. Things we do to help veterans, we do rucking, that's putting on a backpack with weight and going for a walk. You can just walk. We do happy birthday boxes. A lot of services recognize the holidays, but to be missed on your birthday breaks my heart. So we get invested with our veterans. We custom make a box for their birthday after we learn their story. And through that story, we help heal them. In this box will be a custom cup that directly helps them feel proud of their service, whether they're a Marine, whether they're a Navy. I do have permission to talk about a few of our cases. One of our happy birthday boxes was a Navy Vietnam veteran. Once he trusted me, he told me the story of the 31 boys he did not come home with that did not go on the wall. His happy birthday tumbler is a custom wall of all 31 boys' names. I have had that cup, we have had that cup on Twin Cities Live. We have had that cup on Chaska Living Magazine. And in October, Revitalizing gets to take him to the wall so the boys can all be together for the first time since April 15th, 1969. And I have really, really hit the ground running to get all the funding to make that dream come true because he is getting older. Ways we help our GWAT veterans, that's our Global War on Terror, that's our Afghanistan, that's our Iraq, that's our Iran. We help get them in treatment. We do report them when they need to be reported. We help get them to organizations that can help them with their criminal offenses. We help find them jobs. We help take care of the family if they're in treatment so that they can totally focus on treatment. We now do a once-a-month game night because we're trying to get the whole family. We try to do activities at our VFW so that our VFW, they feel like they're included at the VFW. A lot of feedback we get from the GWAP veterans, the VFW is all old men just drinking. And that's not what it is, but we need to change that image. We help active military. Active military is our recruiters, because there's a lot of recruiters in this state, and then it's active, the ones that are deployed out. We do a lot of education on Wear Red Friday, that we wear red every Friday to remember everybody deployed. We write letters, send boxes, and their biggest wish is, please just take care of my family. So we are very big on taking care of the military family because we believe at Revitalizing that, yes, the serviceman or woman is very important, but the family at home is doing a certain kind of time too, and they're also isolated, scared, lost, lonely, and very few programs that reach out to them. In doing this, we found a pocket. Our military, our veterans have to be on fire before they get help, and that model does not sit well with me. So we found a pocket to help fix that. We work with every recruiter that works in our area, and we work with the enlistees getting ready to go to boot camp. There's a couple of avenues in that are important. The seniors graduating this year are our COVID kids. They don't have gym class. And when I can mop the floor of them in my garage gym, boot camp's going to be rough. But we found a pocket with our recruiters, and I'm here to convince you and to educate you that there is not a governmental draft. You are correct, but we do have a societal draft. 90% of the kiddos we are helping are homeless. Living in the park, no shelter, no food, no clothes. I just got to make it 4 months to get to boot camp. There's a lot of trauma there. And if we are sending these kiddos with trauma to boot camp to get a career full of trauma, take one guess where that suicide rate's going. And that doesn't sit well with me. So if I can get invested in this kiddo now, we have a chance to change the trajectory of what a healthy veteran will be for our county in the future. We do this through teaching them how to cook, of course, housing them, feeding them. Mikasa helps me a lot with food. They're a food shelf in Shakopee, because when you work out with 4 22-year-olds for 4 hours and then you feed them after, they eat a lot of food. We clothe them. We help get them back and forth to their recruiter. We write them while they're in boot camp. If they have nobody to come see them graduate at boot camp, we will go see them at boot camp, because a lot of people don't understand this. You're in boot camp. You're standing at attention. Your DI just relieves you from duty. They bring your family out of the stands. Your family will tap you out. You are now relieved from your duty. If nobody taps you out, you stand at attention the rest of the day. I will go to boot camp and I will be that kiddo's family member, and I will tap him out and I will spend the day with him, because a lot of our young kiddos that are going into the military are not going into regular boot camp. We have helped a corpsman get ready for boot camp. We have helped a kiddo get ready to become a PJ. That's a parajumper for the Air Force. Parajumper Air Force has the highest death rate. And I have permission to talk about his story. He was homeless in the park. Mom's been in prison his whole life, and his dad's a meth smoker. So, yes, I will go watch him graduate. He's already graduated boot camp. He didn't want me to come to boot camp graduation. He passed the test for special warfare, and he's at special warfare in Texas right now. Think Navy SEAL, but for Air Force. So those are the things we have landed into. Ways to help. Nobody on our team gets paid. Not me, not my volunteers, not my board. Grants, every grant I've wrote, and it is me that does all the grant writing, has been turned down. There's no benefit to group fitness. They don't line up with our mission. I sometimes get my feathers will fall out, and then I we'll go for a ruck, or I'll go do my 1,000 burpees in the garage, and I refocus and I hit the ground running again. Ways of helping are if somebody would love to help me write grants, help me find grants, that would be amazing. We are trying to now find a space for revitalizing. We do run it out of my house. We have learned through trial and error that running at-risk youth and PTSD veterans through our home is not safe for me. So we're trying to find a space. Spaces are not cheap. Landlords want to see a lot of proof. They want to see a year's lease in your account. We don't have that. So if anybody has any knowledge on how to help me find a space, that would be amazing. Fundraising ideas. We do 2 to 3 working fundraisers a month. Any second now, this community's going to pull the plug and tell me to get out of their face. Our biggest event is coming up on September 6th. It is our 9/11 event. I pay tribute to 9/11. 9/11 is what catapulted my family back into the Marines. Sorry, I have to. Hoorah. We always need spectators. We need volunteers. We do a silent auction at this event. I need help coming up with silent auction ideas, helping get people there to buy the silent auction ideas, hanging flyers, just leads to donations of where I can go ask for things. When you run a nonprofit, everywhere you go, you're asking for a thing, whether it's time, money, swag, just their time so that they can learn who you are. So if you have any leads for me, all leads pave to us being successful. I, again, am Sin Robertson. We did have our 3rd suicide the Wednesday before Easter. I'm here to tell you, I have a 2.8% mortgage interest on my mortgage. I ain't going anywhere. I'm here. I'm in the space. I have a mission. I am going to save one life because I don't want any of you in this room to go to a suicide funeral. I've been to 3. I'm tired. I've had it. I don't want to go to any more. Just come work out with me. You'll see there's a benefit to group fitness. I'm 763-442-0920. Our website is up to date. My Facebook, I'm pretty vocal on my Facebook. Once you meet the purple hair, you'll never forget.
Dr. Richard Scott.
I don't know how you follow that. You brought tears to my eyes, though, Sin. I don't know how many of you were starting to get choked up. I say sometimes I'm going through menopause, so I cry a lot easier now than I did. Can I hold this?
You can.
Hi, I'm Richard Scott from Carver County. I'm here from the government. I'm here to help. Represent local government. We're trying to revitalize government. I said earlier, I don't know how I can follow Sin. I had tears in my eyes, and I cry a lot more these days. I think I sometimes blame it on male menopause. I'm not sure if that's the reason. Maybe it's the state of our communities and our world these days. But so what is local government as it relates to public health? Well, what we do, one of our main responsibilities is to better understand our community. We want to understand what our needs are. We want to understand what resources we bring to bear, what resources we might need, and understand our capacity to address those things that matter to us. Public health is concerned about pretty much everything that we are all concerned about because we realize almost everything contributes to our health and well-being. We are officially required to conduct a comprehensive community health assessment every 5 years. We try to do something on an annual or ongoing basis. I do have a poster board back there that kind of talks about the process that we go through in our community health assessment. We pull out all the stops. We look at all of the official information. We also do door knocking. We do randomized adult health surveys. We do focus groups. We talk with business owners, communities, organizations to help us better understand who we are, what our needs are, and how can we work together to make this the healthiest county in Minnesota. And you know what? We've done pretty well. We've been the healthiest county in Minnesota for 13 consecutive years. We were the 8th healthiest county in the United States last year, the 5th before that. And part of it is because we have a lot of resources here. We're the most affluent county in Minnesota, and that goes a long way in helping us be healthy. Why is that? Because we're educated, we have health insurance, we have each other. And actually what we're finding out, what we have learned through all of our years, both my professional experience and through doing our community health assessment, I've come to understand there's three basic things that we're hardwired for. We're hardwired for a need for safety and security. All of us want that. We strive for that, and we're anxious about that, and we're fearful when we don't have it. Two, we're hardwired for a sense of significance. What does that mean? I like to say it's that we matter. And there's two sides of the coin for that. One is that there's unconditional positive regard for you as a person, as part of this community. And two, you're put in a position where you can then matter to somebody else. And that sense of contribution is sometimes the tipping point for people who are struggling. I had an opportunity to work with Carver Scott Educational Cooperative. Now it's the Southwest Metro. Jill and her New Beginnings. I used to teach at New Beginnings a long time ago. Kay Gunther was part of that, and I knew Sue Schmidt well. So I have a history working, and I used to be a maternal child health nurse. I've probably made home visits to over 2,000 young women. I've seen 2 12-year-old moms in my career. So I have been in a lot of homes and see the trauma and difficulty many of us can experience. But what I've learned is that when you can make a difference in other people's lives, it changes your life. And that's what that sense of contribution is part of that mattering. And the third thing that we've discovered is that we're hardwired for a sense of belonging. You know, not just struggling to fit in, but to really feel like we're valued, that we're at home, and people care about us, and we have others to care about. And public health was actually the catalyst that launched communities of belonging. But we don't do it by ourselves, we do it in partnership. You know, we're a relatively small organization. One of my colleagues is here in the back, so she's going to correct me if I make any mistakes on what we do as a public health agency. But we're really designed to sort of mobilize, orchestrate, empower, ignite the energy, the enthusiasm, the passion of all the people in our community. I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but you know, the choir matters. One of the conferences I went to last summer for our emergency preparedness was the annual Preparedness Summit. They had a keynote speaker that was doing his doctoral dissertation on the importance of what he would refer to as social capital. And that's basically our ability to work with each other, support each other, provide for the needs for each other, like we're learning about today. And he said that, and he found out, and this is an international study, that those communities that support each other, that build and cultivate a sense of social capital, have fewer fatalities due to national disasters, and they recover quicker and better and faster than those communities that don't, regardless of politics, regardless of infrastructure, regardless of finances. What we do to support each other matters, and it is more effective in helping us be healthy than probably anything else we do. During this difficult time that we're going through, not knowing what's around the corner as far as funding, support, I tell my team, I says, you know, the most important resource we have is each other. And how can we support that in order to meet the needs of our community? Now, as far as what is our official, so assessment is one of the things. The next thing that public health does, both nationally and locally, is focus on policy and planning. Put those things in place that help maximize our health, right? And what we've done here locally is called the Community Health Improvement Plan, which is a community improvement plan, not Carver County Public Health Improvement Plan. And we've had a team, there are members here who have been part of our advisory team that put that together to help us dictate what would be important, what should we focus on, and what does the community have a sense of ownership for in order to address the health and well-being of our community. And what we found out during our assessment process that led to our CHIP, or our Health Improvement Plan, is that mental health is a huge concern. Affordability, even in one of the most affluent counties in Minnesota, is a huge concern. And what are those, what we often refer to as social drivers of health that contribute to the health and well-being? One of them is transportation. We heard about transportation. One of them is housing. We heard about housing. We heard one of them was food security. We heard about food security. Another one is resource navigation, and that's what we're learning about today. All of these things contribute and work together to promote and maximize the health and well-being of our community, and hopefully we'll continue to be the healthiest community in Minnesota and across the nation. I have materials in the back on resources about our vaccination programs. We have resources about our food security programs. We have resources about family resource centers, so all the things that families might need to support them. But in closing, I just want to say that local government in the form of public health and our other organizations matter, and the return on investment is unbelievable. For public health, the average return on investment based on high-level studies show that for every dollar invested in public health across the spectrum, returns over $14 in saved in costs for treatment and reduced productivity. Some programs are even better. The We Can Do It campaign during the COVID-19 pandemic, it has been estimated that $89 was saved for every dollar invested in vaccines. And then senior flu vaccine program, for every dollar invested in senior flu vaccines, saves $60 in hospital cost and rehabilitation and things associated with that. So investing in local government, public health, and across the nation matters and saves on money, but more importantly, it makes us a better place to live, learn, work, play, and pray. So thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit. Be happy to answer any more questions later. And thanks for being a part of our community.
Okay, I hope we'll have time for questions. We still have a few to get through. Kathleen with Love Inc.
Okay, hello. My name is Kathleen. I'm the Associate Director of Love Inc. I am very new to this position. It's only been a couple months. But I was introduced to Love Inc. as a client about 4 to 5 years ago. And I'm now proud to be on the other end, serving the community with the same care and compassion that they showed me when I needed the help. We are a national Christian organization. We help unite the local faith community with the resources and the volunteers that have the ability to help with the community that is in desperate need of that extra love and attention. Our affiliate has been serving Carver County since 2006. We started in eastern Carver County with a handful of families, and we now serve roughly 700 to 900 families annually. We, about 5 years ago, expanded into Waconia, and this year we are taking the leap further into Norwood Young America, and they'll be hosting their very first school drive, which I will talk about later. So you might be asking, what is Love Inc.? We are not incorporated, just so you know. Love Inc. stands for Love in the Name of Christ. As a Christian organization, we are serving according to the teachings of Jesus Christ. That does not mean you need to be of a Christian faith to get our services. We serve anybody and in the community that is a permanent resident that feels that they are in need of some sort of help. Our main program of what we do is we run a helpline, and that helpline helps us connect to the community. When someone calls in, they're greeted by a trained volunteer who listens with empathy, offers understanding, and helps identify available resources. If eligible for our programs in particularly, we will make a referral to the churches on their behalf and set up that relationship. If we are unable to help them, if they are not a permanent resident of Carver County, we have a wide range of non-profits that we help connect people to. So for those members that are permanent residents in Carver County, our goal is simple: to meet people where they're at, to walk alongside them in their journey and help them face whatever barriers they're encountering, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental. To help with sorry, I get so nervous up here. Thank you. I try my best. When we're able to help people with their physical needs, we're able to make space for emotional and spiritual healing and growth. When people are in survival mode, you don't see anything else. So if you are like a single mother and your goals in life are paying your bills, you're always behind, you're putting everything you have into making sure that you can keep whatever it is you have, your little space, your apartment, your family. And in doing so, you do not have the time or the energy to go out and do the schooling and get the extra job, get the income you need to provide for your family. You also do not have the time or energy to spend with your children in this situation. You can't help them grow and learn because all you see is the dollar signs that you don't have. So through our program, we're helping you save up those little dollar signs by providing everyday essentials to families. We have two major programs that do so. Our first is our GAP Ministries. These are ongoing support systems. They're held within our local churches, for which we have 27 different ministries. And through those churches, they're helping you with everyday essentials. We kind of look at it as each church is like a department in like a bigger store like Target. They specialize in one item and
You're doing great. You're on
okay. So they collect those particular items, and when a family calls in, we're matching those needs that they have to each individual church that has the items. And then a volunteer from that church will hand deliver those items to the family. And it's important that we keep that hand delivery because it's somebody showing up every day. It says, I support you, I see you, I believe in you, and you are loved by somebody. In addition to our GAP ministries, we also have event ministries, and these are celebratory in nature. When we have celebrations and holidays, they bring joy, they bring connection. But to many people, they also bring a large price tag that they can't afford. And when you cannot afford to participate, you feel other and outside. You watch your friends get big Christmas presents, and you have nothing at home. So through these events, we want to continue to bring people together, the community together, and make sure that all people have the ability to celebrate, be seen. These events are very large undertakings. They're hosted by a particular church, but they're supported by local businesses. We have 34 other partner churches that also collect, donate, and give their time and volunteer. We have individuals that also sign up on our website when these events become available. Throughout the year, we have 4 events. Easter, which we deliver Easter baskets to children and food to their family. Thanksgiving, we provide a frozen turkey and all the fixings so that families can celebrate. And Christmas, we have on eastern part of the county, we have a Christmas shop where a member of a family comes in and buys all the gifts. Well, they're free. They don't buy them, but they shop for all of the gifts for the family. And on the western side, we have Joy Jam, which they order them off of an Amazon list. Like they tell a volunteer what they would like for their family. People go to the list, purchase it. It's wrapped in the church, and then those are hand delivered along with Christmas carols for the family. And lastly, we also have our school supply events. And I know that most people wouldn't think back to school is a celebration, unless you're a parent. But for us, we are celebrating the youth through these events, honoring them as a vital part of our community. this one's touchy for me. Because, as I had mentioned earlier, I started as a loving client. And the school event was what brought me. So like some of our other speakers, we get passionate about why we do this. And to me, I'm doing this because I want everybody's family to feel safe and secure, as mine did in a time of struggle. And it is important that we honor our children and their growth and their successes. Speaking of which, Monday, we opened our phone line for the school event this year. So it has been open for less than a week, and we already have over 100 students signed up for one of our 3 events. We have 3 events this year. We have District 12, which is our Carver, Chanhassen, Chaska, and Victoria students, which will be hosted by Westwood Community Church. In District 110, Waconia and Cologne Academy will be hosted by Trinity Lutheran in Waconia. And our newest event, serving students in District 108, Norwood Young America, will be hosted by St. John's Lutheran Church. At these events, students have the opportunity to shop for supplies. They're like little shopping markets. They get to pick out their backpack and all of their school supplies. They get a personal shopper that comes around with them with their school list so that they show up with everything that is needed, just like all of their peers. This year we expect to serve at least 800 students, if not more. And if you would like to get involved, or if you know somebody who needs to sign up for one of these events, you can visit us at loveinccc.org. Remember, it's 3 C's. Otherwise, you go to the national. And we want you to keep it local. And on there, if you go to the banner at the top of the page, it's the Get Help banner. And from there, go to our community events. Each of those districts have their own information, their sign-up forms, how to sign up for donations, volunteer, and where and when you'll be taking those donations in. If you would like more information on helping out with our phone line, our GAP ministries, event ministries, or fundraising, you can also check us out at loveinccc.org, or you can email volunteerism at loveinccc.org, and we'll help get you placed with an area that would fit you the best. It is our belief that when love is put into action, hope becomes a reality. And thank you for listening, and I hope that you'll come alongside us on our journey here in Carver County.
We are imperfect people, but we are also local people, and I love the passion and appreciate the emotion. All right, we have Gracia from Latino Voices, and slideshow.
I'm going to try to be brief. Try being the operative word here. Yo soy Grecia, soy director ejecutivo y fundador de la organización Latino Voices. And yes, that was on purpose. That was a little social experiment. Latino Voices works with migrants. And I just wanted you to experience a little bit of what it's like to not know. Because that is what we do. I'm just going to summarize our mission and vision. Our mission is to bridge gaps within the community by providing essential resources, advocating for the rights and needs of the Latino community and the community at large through inclusivity, support, and positive change. What we want is to create a future where every Latino voice in Minnesota is heard, valued, and empowered, We envision a community where cultural diversity is celebrated and every individual has the opportunity to thrive. I'm going to skip our story. This is on our website. Feel free to come check it out. I do want to highlight, however, our dedicated team. Just like many nonprofits, we are all non-paid, 100% volunteer. I started this organization with my mom about 6 years ago now. Wow. 6 years ago, and it was a response to some of the needs of the community. We have 2 current case managers that do everything, and when I say everything, I mean everything. For those of you who have met them, Melanie and Evelyn, and that's the, you can't see my arrow, the top 2 gals. Melanie and Evelyn are amazing at being able to foster trust from individuals and help them beyond what they even thought they needed. And then we have our resource center, again, a response to the community. Our resource center is the only place in Carver County where you can get clothes and shoes for free. Nothing is going to be asked of you. We are not going to take any of your information. You can just walk in and get whatever you need and walk out. And that is harshly, like entirely sustained by the response of the community. And we really appreciate that. That's probably the biggest thing we have right now. So I want to point out some of the services that we provide. We do, like I said, we do a little bit of everything. We endeavor in domestic violence, rental assistance programs, filling out paperwork for the courthouse. We have the resource center, making medical and dental appointments for low-income households, appointments for the food shelf, connecting with county services, connecting with immigration lawyer services, and more. And it really does depend on the need. So I'm going to skip that bottom part because I want to talk about our model. So what do we do if all of that is encompassed? Our model is a one-on-one assessment. So every time a family comes into our service area, into our community, or into our organization, we do a conversation. And in that conversation, we assess what are the needs of the family. But we also assess what are their barriers, what accessibility do they have to these programs, and how can we support them? And so let me give you a super brief example. Right now, we have a lot of families who might be new to the country in very different forms. We have refugees, we have TPS, we have asylum seekers, we have undocumented families, and all of them need help. And so when we talk about what are your barriers, we really talk about where do you fit in? Where are you in your process to become a citizen? And how can we help you get there? But also, what are some other things that your family needs? And how do we address that? It's not the same to be an asylum seeker versus a refugee. The benefits that they're eligible for are completely different. And 90% of the time, they're not eligible for services. And so we have to look into how do we partner with all of these nonprofit organizations that are serving the community to help them get there. Language is probably the biggest piece. Fortunately, all of our staff speak Spanish. However, we don't stop there. We do more than language services. We do cultural services, understanding where migrants come from, understanding their train of thought. And it's little things like, misconceptions of what these services mean and what that is going to represent for their family and what's at risk. Who can I trust with my information? If someone finds out that I'm here with an asylum-seeking visa, is that going to put my family at risk? Am I going to get deported? Is my family going to get deported? So these assessments help us address not only the needs of the families, but where are they emotionally? And who can we connect them with to make these families feel better, feel comfortable, and get the needs that they, the essential needs that they require to be able to thrive in our community and to be able to be reconnected in the community. And one of the greatest things that has happened within our organization in the past years is that we started to see some of the people that we helped at the beginning come back. Sidlali, who is our resource, one of our resource managers, came in 3.5 years ago, and she had no one. It was just her and her husband. They came fleeing violence in their country, and we helped them get connected with employment. We help them get connected with lawyers, and she is now a mom, new mom. She's got a baby. She comes into the resource center and helps put stuff away. She brings her baby in, and she comes back because she feels like she's found a place where she belongs. Trust building is the biggest piece of our organization, and it really is what we focus on. When you're a migrant, you probably suffered a lot in your home country, and that's why you're here. And a lot of times, these migrants are coming into a country that also offers hatred. And it's really difficult to find people to trust. So for them to come into a space that listens, that empathizes with them, that can connect with them, and that says, not only are we going to talk to you about Love Inc., but we're going to be with you through the entire process until you get that bed. Not only are we going to connect you with Bountiful Baskets, but we're going to call with you, and we're going to get you connected with their services, and we're going to help you make that appointment, and we're not going to let your hand go until you're there. Not only are we going to show you how to file for an order for protection, but we're going to go with you to the courthouse, and we're going to see that it goes all the way through until you have that order signed by a judge. We're going to sit there and explain to you what it is that you need to do. We're going to sit with you and do it with you, and we're going to make sure that not only are you understanding the process, but that you have someone that can help you with it. That you have someone that's right next to you as you're dealing with domestic violence, as you're dealing with abusive partners, as you're dealing with racism. And this is just all the things we dealt with yesterday. Our office is only open Fridays, and because we are all volunteer, and we're very busy. This is our 2024 report. We had 970 different visits. If you take a look at that, it doesn't seem like that many, but again, we're only open once a week. And maybe closed 3 times during the year, so that's about 50 days open. 970 people in 50 days is a lot. In our breakdown, we have about 32% of our case management going to health and wellness, and again, that includes clinics, dental clinics, health clinics, MNsure applications, vaccinations. 36% of that went to legal support that's helping people with immigration lawyers, helping people file for divorce, helping people submit and translate court documents. 11% went to housing. That included things like application to the CDA, rental assistance, emergency rental assistance, and 6% to domestic violence. And I think a lot of us talk about how numbers can be really skewed. 6% of our work went directly to domestic violence, but we know that's not the real number. We know that's just what's reflected in the data. That 6% is probably 30%. 30% of the work that we did actually became fruitful. I don't know if that makes sense. So out of maybe 100 people that came in, only 30 decided to actually follow through and make a domestic violence report. And we know that that is going to change a lot in the next couple of years. But there's a lot of, again, the cultural pieces that we deal with victims of domestic violence that are migrants are completely different than what you usually deal with. Our partnership with Southern Valley has been great because we get a lot of referrals back and forth. We get a lot of people coming in from them because they don't know how to deal with some of those cultural aspects. And then we refer people back to them when we've already paved the way and they're ready to go to court and need an advocate. And some of the things that we deal with are the threats that abusers use that are very unique to our communities, like, if you report me, I will call immigration and they will deport you and you will never see your children again. If you call the police, they will not take me in, they will take you in because you're undocumented. If you report me and you try to take my children away, they're going to go to foster care because you are here looking for asylum and they see that you can't sustain them. It's little things like that that affect our community in a very specific way. And again, this is not just Latino community, but migrant community members who are here on visa, who are here waiting for their asylum to get approved, who are here on TPS. And these are all legal ways of coming into the country, but that doesn't mean that they're safe. And a lot of the things that are happening right now are things that are making domestic violence even harder for people to get out of. I'm going to go super quick over our values. Our name is actually an acronym. You can get our trifold in the back and read more on the acronym. But I just wanted to point out some of the things that how we live out our acronym. Our first is voice. We really do talk a lot about our community and the needs of our community. Two people in power. This is us with Chaska Mayor. We have a lot of conversations with entities like the police department, the sheriff's department, the city administrators, the county representatives, and we talk about, how can we improve the political and the systems that are in place to make sure that it is addressing some of the issues we talked about. Our second one is over organizing. We organize a lot of support around our community. We, again, partner with people like the police department to make sure that everyone within our community participates and is able to participate in events. The third one is my favorite. It is inspire. We want our organization to be something that inspires people to truly be themselves 100%. So this is a picture of our Katrina event. We did it for the first time last year, and we were just blown at the response of the community. The Katrina event is an event that happens in mainly Mexico and Central America that celebrates the Day of the Dead. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. And the idea behind this is to inspire the young generations, second, third generation immigrants, to really connect back with the roots, to learn some of the traditions that maybe are not able to be celebrated at home because of the chaos that is happening within their family, but are able to be brought out, or maybe they are celebrated at home, but they sometimes feel, and let's be honest, especially with teenagers, ashamed to show who they are. And so this provides them an opportunity to see and celebrate who they truly are. C is for connect. Very often we connect our members back to organizations and resources within the area. I don't remember who mentioned this, but we are also believers that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to recreate the things that are happening. There's already a food shelf. We don't have a food shelf. There's already a resource for domestic violence. We don't have in-house resources for domestic violence. So collaborating, connecting back the community with resources that exist allow us to be better stewards of the funding that we receive, but also allows our community to really use those resources in the best way possible. Equip. The model that we have for our assessments, it allows people not only to get the support that they need, but to learn through the process. I'm not sitting there filling out a CDA application for the client. I'm sitting there and making sure the client understands the application. Because if in 3 years they have a neighbor who needs support, they already know what the process is. They already know how to help and support those families. And we are teaching them how the systems work in the new country that they are in. And the last one is where you come in. Serve. Our organization believes in service and love through it. We have 100% volunteer staff, but we also have tons of serving opportunities. We have, like I said, our resource center, and our resource center is 100% community-led. So everything that comes into the resource center is completely free because we get it free. We have a hygiene and essential needs shelf, and that has, again, things like soap, shampoo, conditioner, lots of baby supplies is what we hand out because families have young children and those things are really expensive. They can't afford it. We have clothing and shoes for all ages. And so if you're cleaning out your closet for the season, we take seasonal clothing and shoes, especially for kids. Kids outgrow those things super, super fast, and we want to make sure that these kids have more than one pair of shoes, and that is a true story that we heard within the last, I think, 2.5 months. Little girl, probably 7, came in and said to Melanie, I like your shoes. Do you like mine? And Melanie's like, yeah, I love your shoes. And she's like, this is my only pair. in a county where we are the healthiest and wealthiest, for a child that is 7 years old to have a single pair of shoes, that just baffles me. So again, in our response to that, we want to make sure that the community has a place to donate where that stuff is going to go back to the community, completely free. And I'm going to end with a quote. We are certain that God's will is that all men share in the good things this earth produces. And this is by none other than Cesar Chavez. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gracia. I know we're at noon. I hope you can bear with us. We just have 2 left. And the next one is Pride with Darcy.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for sticking around. Feel free, I know you've been sitting a long time, feel free to get up and move around and mill around. You're not going to hurt my feelings at all as we do this. First thing I want to do is let all of the nonprofits here know that Carver County Pride is September 20th. You are all welcome to come and have a booth there. If finances are an issue, let us know and we will work with you. Your resources are very important and we want to see you there. So make sure you check that out, and we would love to see you there. My name is Darcy Bauman. I use she, her pronouns. However, I'm not elated or offended by any pronouns. I'm one of the board members, one of the founding board members, and the media spokesperson for Carver County Pride. Has anybody heard of Carver County Pride? Awesome. So our mission at Carver County Pride is to cultivate an inclusive and safe, sustainable community for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, two-spirit. So if you want to know what all those letters are, that's what they are. And, now this is the big one, and Carver County community members. So we're serving the whole community with a focus on the LGBTQIA2S+ community. We are a 501(c) nonprofit. We are a family-friendly 501(c)(3) nonprofit. Our focus is awareness in Carver County and connecting community members. Who are we and how did we start this? Well, we began as friends and talking through everything, wanting to, change the world's problems, but we settled for Carver County. We also had a social media group that just kind of started as gatherings once a month, and finally this group got together and said, hey, you know what, we really need to do more. We need more. So there was a group of us that got together and we decided we would have Carver County Pride. We went and looked around at a bunch of different places and we were looking at a venue for it, for the festival part of it. And we decided on the Carver County Fairgrounds in Waconia because it felt like a little bit of everybody is at that area. A few things I want to go over. When we talk about pride, there are 3 prides, right? When we talk about something, we talk about pride, everyone thinks of the festival, right? The festival is pride. But there's also the organization. You have all of these different pride organizations. So when we talk about pride, we could be talking about the festival, we could be talking about the organization that runs Pride, or we could be talking about the movement, Pride as a movement. So I think a lot of things get a little mixed up and a little interchanged because when we talk about Pride, which portion of it are we talking about? So just to let y'all know that there are those 3 aspects of it. And why do we have rural prides? Why not just go to Twin Cities? They have a big Pride. Well, I know that. I've been volunteering there since 2008. So historically, people moved out of the rural areas, right? But the one thing we're finding, and the one thing that I found out in the, when doing research for the CHIP and helping out with that, is that the youth want to stay here, right? They grew up here. They grew up with certain rights that other folks didn't have. They want to stay here. Also, those of us that may have moved out for a little while are coming back. Right? If you had a good childhood, you want to raise your kids here. or folks have rights to marry now, and now they want to move out and raise their families in rural settings. But some of the misconceptions we'll see is like, not in our town, right? There are no gay folks, there's no LGBTQ folks in our town, but there are, right? So that's really important. Another reason why we do this. Visibility, letting others know, letting others in the community know that we're here, right? The last one is just a little link, and maybe I can send it out. On AM 950 radio, we talked about rural prides. Sarah, the board chair, and myself, we talked to Andy Otto from Twin Cities Pride, and we talked about rural prides and why they're important. One thing that we get to do is we get to bridge communities, right? One thing I'll say about our community, we have the largest intersection of all communities. Someone from our community can use all of these nonprofits. Someone in our community is part of every community, right? You have different classes, socioeconomical portions, everything. There's someone in our community who's a part of that. So one great thing that we get to do is we get to talk to other folks, and if any of the nonprofits here want help or want education on how to serve the LGBTQ portion of your community, we're here to help you with that as well. So it's one thing to look at. One thing that's important and a little different, Twin Cities Pride is huge, and you get a very condensed portion of the LGBTQIA2S+ community there, because we've historically had to leave. But what we're doing here is we're not only serving that portion of the community, we're serving the greater portion of the community. We get to talk to different organizations when we talk about fundraising, so our fundraising is a little different. I'll go out to like the fire department when they have their monthly meetings, or the Lions organizations. One fun thing about this is 2024 was our very first Carver County Pride Festival, and we were founded in 2024. One of our largest sponsors was one of the fire departments, Laconia Fire. We did not get none of the Lions answered us at all when we were trying to do this. We didn't have a Lions organization. After 2024, I went and spoke at a Lions this year, did not ask for money, just went to go and tell them who we were, what we were doing, and how it went last year. They turned around and did a $1,000 donation just from going out and speaking. So these kind of things and talking to folks gives them the opportunity to ask questions as well. We're creating community. We don't have the same social group that we did have at one time, but Carver County Pride, if you go and follow us, we do have a private social group. You do have to search for it. You do have to request access. Just trying to keep that space safe for folks. And in that community, we also have monthly meetups. So that's something that we do to get everybody together. Our first festival was on August 31st, Labor Day weekend. And we had a lot of stuff. And the picture that we have in the middle, you'll see by the end of this why we had that reaction. It was just an amazing day. And to come out and have it in Carver County at the fairgrounds was great, because we got to see people come together, folks that may have had trauma. We talk a lot about trauma in that area before, now had a chance to go in that area, could be for themselves, right? We had folks there was one couple, they were in their 70s. They were in Norwood. They thought they were the only ones. And then they heard about this. They came out. We saw folks with their grandkids. We saw kids coming out. It was just an amazing, fun day. Another thing is accessibility is really important, because, as I mentioned, we have intersections. So we have folks in our communities that may require ASL interpreters. I didn't know, but that was the right thing to do, and we did have people come out. We had sensory-friendly areas. So if folks got overwhelmed or needed anything, we partnered with Minnesota Autism Society and some other folks for that. For mobility, everything we had was along the paved pathways. And we also made sure that we had benches set up so that if folks were walking from the accessible parking up to there, they had places to sit. And throughout there were extra places to sit, making sure that this space was accessible for them. And some of them, this was the first time that the Carver County Fairgrounds was accessible for them. Now, this is one thing I want to show you. One of the other pieces with having a festival is to celebrate our community, but to also teach our community and teach other folks what our history is, teach other folks about us. So with this, let's see if I can get this to play here. Sorry if you get a little nauseous, but these are from the Treader collection. This is Minnesota history. This is Minnesota LGBTQ history. Only Minnesota. These were displayed at our festival. And these, you can also see them at the Treader collection. These are parts of the archives. So there's, Minnesota has one of the hugest GLBT, because that's what it was at the time, archives in the world. And some of these pieces do travel. But these particularly were created for rural prides to be able to show the history. So to watch kids and adults go through and like find their history and find their roots was awesome. Yep, there we go. Another great part about this is after the festival, we gave a t-shirt and a hat to the Treader collection. So now those pieces live at the University of Minnesota in this history. So the reason that we had that crazy picture is this. So for our very first festival, we had about 1,100 visitors on Labor Day weekend. The average dwell time was 177 minutes, which is a long time for a festival, especially a first-time festival. We had all ages. We had newborns. We had folks over 60, and it was powered by 62 amazing volunteers. We had a total of 83 sponsors. 6 sponsors contributed over $1,000. 24 sponsors contributed between $100 and $999. 41 of those were women-owned. 18 of those were LGBTQIA+ owned businesses, and 9 of those businesses were BIPOC. So what do we do other than the festival, right? Well, with the new administration coming in, folks were worried about their rights. So what could we do to help, right? What could Carver County Pride do to help? So we partnered with the Moravian Church in Waconia, and we held free weddings to anyone who wanted them. I'm an officiant, so I was able to officiate the weddings, and this is a picture from one of the weddings that we had. What else do? We are part of the Waconia Chamber of Commerce. One of the biggest questions that we get from the community is, where is a safe place to go to do business? It may seem like an odd question, but really folks want to know where it's a safe place to go for them, for their families, just to be. So we also partner, bring recognition to our community with the Chamber. We also support other organizations. Transforming Families is an organization that provides resources for transgender, non-binary, and gender-expansive youth and their families. So instead of putting it on the transgender youth to explain to their families what's going on, Transforming Families is that resource for them. It allows parents to ask all the questions they need to ask and gives them all the resources that they need. With everything going on and all the bills that we've had, we had Minnesota Strong for Trans Youth. Carver County Pride is a part of that. We support the Chaska Pride Picnic, and we did 2 trunk or treat events this year. Waconia's trunk or treat was the same time as Twin Cities Pride's trunk or treat, and we did both, feeling that was very important because not everyone knows that we're going to be at Waconia, and not everyone knows about Carver County Pride, but they go to Twin Cities Pride's events because they know that's a safe space. We had somebody cry when they saw us there. To know that they could come. I did really good.
I was one that started. You're welcome. It's okay. It's a safe space to cry.
I grew up in Carver County. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that we would be doing this. So, in a time when we don't think that we can belong anywhere, our theme this year is You Belong Here. We all belong regardless of where we are in life, regardless of what is in front of us, and all of the mounds of intersections on top of us. So our theme this year is You Belong Here. So, thank you very much.
All right, just the last one. Patty Sinekin wasn't available to be here, so she gave me some brief notes and some slides. So I will speak as her for our final spot for the day. Please do share this information with anyone you know, as with our world and our community changing every day, we often don't know who has need for food at any given time. So sharing this information makes it available for when it's needed. The mission of Bountiful Basket is nourishing neighbors, inspiring hope, and supporting families on their road to self-sufficiency. Food is what we do, but our deeper purpose is to walk alongside families, offering support, dignity, and connection during times of need. We now have 2 locations. Our original site is in Chaska. We opened a second location in Cologne 2 years ago to expand access and better meet community needs. Eastern Carver County is our traditional service area, including Chaska, Chanhassen, Carver, and Victoria, but we welcome anyone who walks through our doors regardless of where you live. You're welcome to shop twice per month, and you can make appointments. It's easy to schedule a shopping appointment, and that ensures a smooth, respectful experience and reduces wait times. It's like shopping in a grocery store. The locations provide a dignified, choice-based shopping experience where you select the foods that your family enjoys and needs. We prioritize health and nutrition. Shoppers receive fresh produce, proteins like chicken or beef, dairy items like milk and cheese, and shelf-stable pantry staples, items our clients consistently tell us are the most requested and in demand. We also offer mobile delivery for those who can't get to us. If you're unable to visit due to illness, lack of transportation, or other challenges, we can arrange home delivery for Eastern Carver County residents to ensure you still receive the food that you need. And we support more than just food needs. Our new County Resource Navigator is here to help individuals and families connect with additional resources such as housing, employment, healthcare, and more. Many who come for food also need broader support, and we're here to help guide them toward long-term stability. This was a wonderful morning. I want to thank again all of our presenters. I love how many of you already work together. That says so much about our community, and that you took the time to come here and share this. We will have the recording online. Because we went long, we're not going to take the questions here, but my suggestion, if you have a question, leave it in the basket with evaluations, and then we will get them posted once Susan gets the program online. We will add them in the comments, and then we would invite all of our speakers to go there and look for the questions and answer any that you're able to. And if you don't have access to Facebook, just send them to me as well. And that way we'll make sure to get every question answered, because I think it was very valuable time spent for everything that we've heard today. And of course, again, thank you to our host communities of belonging, the cobchan.org, get you there real quick. And have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and thank you so much.